My name is Chris Davis, and I'm here to tell you a little story, give you some information about the differences between American English and what the English actually use as English. There are quite a few differences that can easily confuse you. So let me start out with telling you a little story about how we got confused. Back in August, the wife and I decided to go to Antigua to a sandals resort. Well, while we were down there, we met two British couples. And we met them the first day we were there, and we ended up spending most of our vacation with them. We were there for 6 days. And in the first day, we noticed there were some differences in some of the things we say versus what they say. They asked, I believe it was our first day there, they actually asked us if we would like some cakes and biscuits. And we were like, no thanks. We're out by the pool having a few drinks. Not really in the mood for cakes and biscuits. Well, they were like, are you sure? I think they have biscuits with polka dots. At this point, we were just too confused to even say yes. We had no idea what they were talking about. So we decided just to say no, leave it at that. Well, they come back with cupcakes and biscuits with polka dots. Well, it turns out biscuits with polka dots are actually cookies with chocolate chips. And that really got us thinking, what are some of the other things that they would say and some of the things we would say? What's the differences? So we decided to talk to them some more just about different words they would use as opposed to what we would use. So we found out that, we were talking about a hamburger on a bun. We call it a bun. If we have a French roll, it's a French roll. We call it bread. Well, for them, they call it BAP, B-A-P. Now, a hamburger bun, as you got it right here, it's just a bun. We don't think anything about it. We just say, yeah, can I have a bun? Or can you put it on a roll for me? Not for them. For them, it's a BAP. And that really confused us because, we started thinking, well, over here, a BAP is when somebody pops you upside the head. Nobody over here wants to get bapped. So, we laughed about that one. And then we moved on to some really interesting ones. Let's see, minced meat. Everybody's heard of the minced meat pie. It's a holiday dish. And most people haven't eaten it. Most people are scared of it because it's a meat and a pie. Well, minced meat is actually ground beef, which should scare even more people. But if you haven't tried it, I would suggest it because it is pretty good. Next one, this is a big confusing one. We got chips or fries and crisps or chips. And what I mean by that is if you're over in England and you order fish and chips, you're ordering fish with French fries. Now, that's easily misunderstood. I misunderstood that when I was in high school and I went over to England for my graduation trip. I ordered fish and chips and I got fish and French fries and was really confused. But what we call chips, our standard potato chips, something like these Sun Chips right here, they call crisps. So you really need to, make sure you remember that one if you ever go overseas or if you're ever hanging out with some British folks and you want to make sure you use the right words with them, or at least explain to them what your words are so you don't have any confusion. Now, another big one is jelly. To us, jelly is, strawberry jelly that you would put on an American biscuit. Well, to them, jelly is Jell-O. And that can really mess you up if you're in a restaurant over there and you're getting breakfast and you order a biscuit with jelly and they come back with a cookie and a bowl of Jell-O. It might really mess you up for breakfast. So you definitely want to remember that one too. Another good one is squash. We call squash squash. We fry it, bake it, boil it. It's squash. Well, over there they call it marrow, just like we would call bone marrow. And the reason they call it that is because of the inside coloring of it does kind of look like bone marrow. It's the same yellowish white color, and it's on the inside of a skin. So I'm guessing, that's where it originated from. I don't know, because it's hard to find stuff like that when you're just looking at differences between American English and English English. The next thing we're going to go to is vehicles. We were talking to them, and I asked them, what kind of vehicle do you drive? Because I know, they have cars, like they have Ford cars that we don't have in America. Even though they're made in America, we don't have them here. So we started talking, and I asked him, he said he drove a Land Rover, and he's like, well, what do you drive? And I said, I drive an F-150 crew cab. Here it is. He's like, oh yeah, that's a great lorry. Well, what's a lorry? That was my big question. Well, it turns out a lorry is actually a truck, just a pickup truck. They call it a lorry, we call it a truck. So I thought that was really amusing, just for the fact that he's talking about, that's a nice lorry, and I'm looking around for somebody named Lori. I've got no idea what he's talking about. So after we got done figuring out what a lorry was, he asked me what was under the bonnet. Totally confused me. Well, it turns out, over in England, a bonnet is the hood. When they talk about a boot, they're talking about the trunk. Over here, we think about a boot, we think about, you just didn't pay some parking tickets, and they put a boot on your tire. You're not going anywhere. But over there, a boot's the trunk of the car, and the bonnet is the hood of the car. So when he was asking me what's under the bonnet, he's really talking about what kind of horsepower do I have, and what kind of motor do I have. Now another fun one is that they call the standard police cars, we have the black and white police cars. Over here, they're just cop cars, police cars. Well, over there, they call them panda cars, which, when he said panda cars, immediately had me thinking, about a car that a panda would drive at a zoo or something. Or not a zoo, like a circus. So I thought that was pretty funny. It's pretty interesting, just the fact that, just because of the colors, they immediately considered a panda car. Okay, and over here, we go to gas stations to get gas. Well, over in England, they go to petrol stations to get petrol. I mean, they even have it in liters instead of in gallons. But yes, so they're going to go to a petrol station to get petrol when we go to a gas station to get gas. Now another one, most people know a car park is a parking lot. But what we don't think about is other things like rest areas. When we're driving down the road, we're tired, we stop at a rest area. Well, if they're driving on a long trip and they're tired, they stop at a lay-by. Same exact thing, they just call it a lay-by instead of a rest area. So if we're driving down the road, we need to use the bathroom, we're going to stop at the rest area to use the restroom. Well, if they're driving down the road and they need to go to the restroom, they stop at the lay-by to use the loo. And that was another funny one, because they said, I'm going to the loo, I'll be back in a minute. I had no idea what they were talking about. But the loo is actually the restroom. And they don't understand why we call it a restroom, because you don't rest in it, you use it and you get out. Nobody wants to rest in a restroom. And the last one I want to tell you about is a hold-up. When we're driving down the road and we have really bad traffic, we may call into work and say, hey, I'm stuck in a traffic jam, I'm going to be a few minutes late. Well, if they're running late for work, they call it a hold-up. They're going to call into work and say, hey, I'm in a hold-up. Over here, we may freak out and not know what to do. Like, do we need to call the cops? Well, the panda car could get you, So that's another good one that, you really don't think about until it's too late, So make sure you remember that a hold-up is a traffic jam and not somebody robbing you. But that's about it. I hope you found this information fun, amusing at least, and a little bit of learning should have gone into this. There's a lot of stuff that you really just don't think about on a daily basis, that if you look into and talk to somebody, you find out some neat things. You can do the same thing with any other country out there. But I do want you to remember one thing. If you're on the phone with somebody and they tell you they're eating a biscuit with polka dots while putting petrol, the fan doesn't like me, while they're putting petrol in the lorry, you'll understand what they're talking about. And remember that they're actually just eating a chocolate chip cookie while they're putting gas in their truck. Alright, thanks. Have a good day.